When it comes to Mario Party, I may be in the minority that actually prefers the board segments of gameplay to the minigames. Now, don't get me wrong, a thrilling round of hexagon heat is sure to get my heart thumping. Yet, traversing through the countless boards, seeing what each one's main shtick has to offer releases a much higher dose of dopamine across my brain. However, the joys I get from making epically strategic moves against those who aren't taking it nearly as seriously as me largely comes down to one element that contributes so much towards the series' appeal, acting as a pillar for the franchise. That, of course, being the items. Think about it. Rather than hitting the same randomly generated 1 through 10 dice block every turn, constantly subjecting yourself to the whims of fate, you could instead use an item to help combat that cruel mistress of luck for a more favorable outcome towards whatever devious plan you've got cooking up. Oh, what? The star is 19 spaces away and your friend Jeffrey is right behind it? Well, pop a good old super shroom and blitz your way over there with 3, count 'em, 3 dice blocks. Oh, what? You're 5 or so spaces from Boo and don't quite have 50 coins to steal Jeffrey's star? Well, use a poison mushroom to limit your roll while you build up more coinage. Do you just want to be a dastardly madman and trade places with somebody at random while you're in Bowserland's blooper circle of despair? Well, use a warp block and enjoy being hated. Of course, items don't only pertain to simple movement options either, as they can provide for more direct offensive plays towards others, such as the Piranha Plant gobbling up half a player's coins, or, on the flip side of that token, defensive measures to guard against others, such as a Gadlight scaring away a Boo sent by anyone desperate to steal your wallet. If you think I'm overstating the influence items have, then do me a favor and go back to playing some of the original Mario Party, where there are none, and hopefully you'll snap out of acting like a silly goose, realizing how huge of a difference they can make to board play, enriching the overall experience tenfold. Thankfully, the dudes in charge picked up on this rather fast, as every party since the second Shindig has had their own twist and spin on an item system. Although, it should go without saying that no matter what entry you're throwing down in, not every item within it is created equal. As you may have picked up on by now, across the series, there's naturally a wide assortment of different types of items that have varying degrees of effects on yourself or other players. Truly, every item should be more so placed on a spectrum of utility that's ever-changing depending on your current scenario, yet for the sake of simplicity, I'll label them under 3 broad categories based on how much they usually impact an ongoing game: low value, average value, and high value. Sure, I like to believe that in Mario Party, you can always try to make something out of nothing, though generally the low value items are not prone to forming any real sway, rather just small helpful boosts such as the Mushroom, Skeleton Key, and 10 coin hex. Average value items have solid utility that can make way for some bigger plays if they're used correctly, meaning you may have to use your noggin a wee bit before popping them out. These include the Plunder Chest, Dueling Glove, and Chomp Call. Lastly, high value items are your big boys that are pretty much effortless to change the tide of a game with. If you have one of these in store, then you are for sure getting served some looks of concern. The Magic Lamp, Chance Capsule, or Boo Bell first comes to mind. Alright, we've established that Mario Party games have items. Very cool. That much is the easy part. It's a lot tougher when trying to turn these various lists of effects into functioning systems that have to abide by principles of balance in order to keep things fair for everyone involved. For the most elementary and easily digestible example, let's take a regular mushroom and pit it against a golden mushroom. In a majority of titles, the regular shroom gives you an extra dice block for a total of 2, whereas the golden shroom goes one step beyond and grants you 2 extra dice blocks for a total of 3. Now, unless you're deliberately not trying to travel too far ahead for whatever reason, most people would prefer the golden shroom over the regular. I mean, obviously, right? It's the better valued item with its extra dice block granting a larger safety net that can make or break the needed distance to wherever. So in this case, how do we balance it to where the regular shroom can still see utility even when given the option to obtain a golden shroom? Why, their costs, of course. Pricing within item shops helps balance which items players can and will go for at different points across the party. More Marking the golden shroom as double the cost of the regular shroom puts a burden onto the player's wallet, making them step back and really consider which would be the wiser purchase. If they're low on change yet still need an extra kick to their step, then the regular shroom may very well be the better choice over the golden one that could leave them completely broke. Zooming out for a moment to look at an entire list of shoppable items, we tend to see that their pricing is directly correlated to how valuable it is. A high value item can be double or even triple the cost of a low value item. Now, I mean, come on, you've been to a store before, right? No matter how absolutely dog water a game's item system may be, it still always abides by this principle. It's the simplest way to enforce balance onto the item pool. Just ignore a couple of those rather bonker outliers like the infamous reverse shroom in 3 or the oddly broken Goomba capsule in 5. No, I'm serious. Why is this only 5 freaking coins to use? It swaps your entire wallet with another player at random, but it's not actually random since you can learn the spinner's timer super easily, so anyone who knows that can just abuse the heck out of it, and anyways. Pricing weaker and stronger items accordingly is one thing, but to help avoid breeding the rich get richer ecosystem, you have to address the likelihood that one obtains certain items. You can achieve this by artificially controlling which items specific players can and cannot have normal access to, basing it on their current placement position. Let me ask, would you think it's a good idea to let the person in first place with a 3-star lead on second be able to walk up to an item shop or free orb space and be given the chance to nab a magic lamp-esque item? Of course not, that would be redonkulous. Logically, you'd want those lower placing players, aka third and fourth, to have the means to create strong offensive moves against those higher placing players for the opportunity of a comeback. If everyone had access to the same exact list of items with no differences, that would first off make things extremely bland, and secondly, quite unfair for those hard on their luck struggling for a come up. Now, I'm sure no Mario Party game would be foolish enough to do something like that. Walking back to our mushroom example, we can see in a game such as Mario Party 2 that those who come out the gate swinging with a lead aren't given access to the golden mushroom. And by the time they eventually are, those lower placed are given more options outside of that, to which it only continues to snowball towards the final 5 turns, where a universally agreed high value item such as the magic lamp can only be bought by third and fourth place. Even if first or second had 999 coins and could easily afford one, if not multiple, too bad. It should be harder for them to try and extend their lead. In fact, a lot of titles actually push out more defensive items for these players, such as the Boo Repellent, to help protect their lead as opposed to directly growing it with an item such as the Boo Bell. Even with a game like Mario Party 5 that ditches the concept of item shops altogether, it still enforces this rule through the use of bucket systems. Basically, these help regulate different tiers of items for the corresponding player's placement whenever they stop by a free capsule machine, ensuring that first place likely isn't getting a chance capsule while fourth place is stuck with a wimpy coin block in the second to last turn. Bottom line, the more valuable an item is, the more demanding it will be to obtain, whether through pricing or scarcity. This is a basic look into proper item balance. However, riddle me this. What if we were to take everything I've just said and throw it out the window? Not for the entire system. No, that would be unappetizing chaos. I'm talking about, what if there were a teensy handful of items within the larger group that were so skewed concerning these balance measures that they ended up being some of the craziest contraptions this side of the Mushroom Kingdom? What if?
Hey, come on. Ooh.
Yeah. No.
Mario Party 2 definitely deserves kudos for establishing the very concept of items as we know them today, though if we're keeping it real, its successor Mario Party 3 deserves nearly equal credit for completely upgrading the system in so many flipping ways it's not even funny. Aside from bumping up the inventory space to the new standard of 3 slots, allowing for so many more thoughtful plays, there were tons of kooky items introduced that covered pretty much every base you could ask for. Movement, offense, defense, and even portable shops for on the go. Yet there's 4 items in particular that clearly stand out from the rest: the Barter Box, Koopa Card, Wacky Watch, and Lucky Charm. And no, I'm not talking about some mid cereal, I'm talking about rare items. As the name implies, these are rare, yeah, hard to find items that as a byproduct contain some of the most absurd abilities of the series. I'd be willing to bet that a lot of you more casual fans have never experienced some of these endgame, let alone even heard of them. In fact, you could feasibly sit down and play through all 6 of the boards back to back and not come across one of these items a single time. Oh, come on, they can't be all that hard to find. Don't be Papyrus. I mean, the game right before this, Mario Party 2, had a handful of powerful items like the Boo Bell and Bowser Bomb that only sometimes showed up in item minigames. Well, that is true, but you could say that these rare items in 3 are a wee bit more exclusive. Thankfully, using this fancy thing called the internet, I found that this information was pretty much already publicly available through the spectacular work of that dude named Zoomzyke with his identifying luck videos. And of course, all the wonderful humans that helped him gather that info, such as, these people. So, basically, there's 3 ways to obtain one of these elusive fellas. The first being through an item space. Now, this isn't quite as straightforward as those Mario Party 2 items I just mentioned, as you're never fully guaranteed at even a crack at a rare item when landing onto an item space, for they will never show themselves in an item minigame, rather only an item question, which for those of you who've never played 3 is something new added into item spaces for the sake of some variety. Pretty much, Toad or Baby Bowser will come down to ask you a question of character, like, say you see some coins on the ground, would you take them? Or, are you a picky eater? Depending on your answer, they'll reward you with a variety of item-based prizes. Seems fairly easy, right? Well, it turns out that the chances of getting a question is only roughly 40% of the time, 20% for a Toad question and 20% for a Baby Bowser question, with the other 60% triggering an item minigame. This admittedly isn't the craziest thing to make happen, since item spaces are just uncommon in terms of rarity, meaning there's plenty of them around the board. But don't get too excited, as only Toad is nice enough to give out rare items for some of his prizes, the odds of which are roughly 20% if you answer neutral and 30% if you answer honestly. Hey, not terrible odds for such a thing known as a rare item, is what I thought until I busted out some mathematics and realized that it really comes out to a measly 6% chance overall, assuming you're only answering honestly for Toad if given the opportunity. The sad part is that this is debatably your best shot at snagging one. Yikes. The second method is to get one from an item bag. Now these aren't hard to find at all, since even with the 50-50 coin flip of getting either a Toad or Baby Bowser item shop, which holds different item stock, the item bag is still purchasable for 30 coins no matter the seller, turn count, nor the player's placements. The tricky part comes from the very nature of the item bag itself, which gives up to 3 random items to the player upon purchase. And as you may suspect, reasonably so, not every item that you can get from this bag has the same chances of appearing, with, when you guess it, the rare items being the least common by a mile. Oh wait, the dubiousness isn't done yet, as not every rare item is even possible to appear per item bag. An easily overlooked detail is that an item bag will only give out items from whichever merchant stock that you bought it from. So, an item bag from Toad will only provide items that can be found within his specific shop, and vice versa for Baby Bowser. However, when it comes to the rare items that cannot be bought normally, only the Barter Box and Koopa Card can be found in Toad's bags, while the Lucky Charm can only be seen in Baby Bowser's, each of which have a super high, roughly 2 to 3% chance of popping out. Assuming you have an empty inventory and buy one from Toad, trying to hit at best a 5% chance even with 3 tries is definitely rare to say the least. The third and last option to finding one would be through a hidden block, which for those of you who know Mario Party even a little bit should know that's not always a typical occurrence. Though apparently the more Mickey you are, the higher your chances. It's kinda ironic given that hidden blocks are probably the most common to stumble upon within this game, given how there's 3 separate blocks on the board at all times. You have your standard star and 20 coins, but the third gives out an item. Locating one of these is already tough enough, even more so the bigger the board, although once you do, you'll be granted your rare item, right? No, of course not, those odds are still way too high. Out of the 6 possible items that can appear from this hidden block, you are by far most likely to find a skeleton key roughly 72% of the time. There's a clear drop-off with the magic lamp appearing 8% of the time, and then there's a 5% chance of any of the 4 rare items. On the bright side, while hoping for a peculiar rare item will leave you with that abysmal 5%, if you don't care which one you get and only want to say that you got one, then that's a whopping 20% chance. Just good luck on finding that hidden block to begin with. Okay then, it's nice to know that the rare items surely live up to their namesake, but if you are struck by a horseshoe, first probably go to the hospital. Though secondly, you may wonder, what exactly in the world do these mystical items even do? Well, I'll tell you right this second. From my own opinion of least to most unhinged, there's first the Koopa card. This allows the holder to automatically withdraw all of the built-up coins within a bank, no matter how much is in there, by merely passing through it. There's no chance involved with trying to land on the bank space itself, just pull up and get paid in everyone's hard-earned taxed dollars. Next up is the barter box, which lets the user select another player to swap their whole inventory with. Yes, you heard me right, their entire pocket of items are now yours for the taking. Just when we thought the plunder chest got its rightful glow down from 2, here comes this thing radiating that same aura, having the passive ability of chump checking anyone from getting a high value item, or forcing them to prematurely use any they may already have to possibly lackluster results. Then we have the lucky charm, letting you summon Game Guy onto any player, including the one who used the item, putting them into one of his diabolical games of pure chance. Some of you may not realize that having this power in the palm of your hands is utterly insane due to the fact that the Game Guy space in 3 is nearly just as, if not more so rare than chance time on certain boards. That's probably due to the fact that, unlike chance time that has, well, the chance at ending in a dud of sorts, unless you have very little to no coins coming into it, Game Guy is guaranteed to shake things around as you're forced to put up every cent to your name towards a single make or break bet. You can leave this event with double, triple, quadruple, or even up to 64 times your beginning coinage. Or you could leave totally empty-handed. I honestly don't know if it's more baller using this on yourself or another player. Finally, perhaps at least from a conceptual standpoint, we have the most literally game-changing item to ever be in a Mario Party, the Wacky Watch. Curiously enough, with this item, there's no direct player versus player element attached to it like with the barter box or lucky charm, and it's not letting you access something that's fairly hard to obtain like the bank's built-up cash. No, nothing of the sort. Instead, the Wacky Watch is extremely unique in that it only affects the status of the ongoing party itself by setting the current game turn count to the final 5 turns. It doesn't matter if you've just started and you're on the 2nd turn, or if you're on the final turn of a 50-turn party, it is getting set to 5 turns left. I'm so hoping I don't have to explain how ludicrous this sounds. Whereas every other single item across the series grants some sort of effect on you, another player, or a board space in some fashion, this thing lets you play God, decreasing or increasing the game length itself. You can turn a potentially 2 to 3 hour party into 30 minutes. No matter what, using this is a tremendous statement of either pure cockiness to end the game early or straight up desperation to extend the game long enough in hopes for some type of comeback. Either way, I just gotta say they must have been smoking that yiggity yeesh quiche for this one. Alright, that was pretty crazy to go over, but now you may be wondering, what exactly is my point if these few items act as such a small cog in the overall machine that is 3's item system? Why would I go through the back-breaking labor of looking stuff up online that other people have already researched? Well, it's simple. It's because of what they represent. Sure, the general gameplay loop of an average Mario Party game is something you'll quickly grow accustomed to. Travel around the board, collecting coins to buy stars while playing minigames every so often. We all know the deal. However, compared to a lot of its peers, to me at least, Mario Party has one of the biggest X factors out there that makes participating in it such a thrilling time. Those who've played even a game or two before should hopefully resonate with this, as there's specific key moments that are infamous among the franchise. Whether it be the classic chance time, the aforementioned game guy, a devastating Bowser space, a high stakes duel, or a 50 coin battle minigame entry fee. As soon as these near once a game events rise up, they immediately grab your attention while sending your blood pressure into overdrive. Now, it's important to point out that these situations are not what I'd consider to define an entire party, as spamming them would only serve to lessen their impact while crossing the line of being tolerable hijinks. And the rare items perfectly embody the same type of energy. Mario Party 3 gives the player a relatively high amount of control in what type of strategy they want to deploy concerning items, and the system is exceptional for that. Though, eventually, as you log in countless romps through the chilly waters and creepy caverns, you may grow overly accustomed to what it has to offer. So, akin to the unlikely occurrences found within certain board events or minigames that keep you on your toes, giving the item system itself that off chance of something wild happening that can flip the party on its head is pure genius. You're throwing in a pinch of erotic spice to an already well-crafted recipe that you can never fully count on, while also never fully counting out. In fact, I am really glad that these rare items are indeed super hard to find, as their appearance in some type of shop, even with proper retail pricing, would feel a tad out of place, since I'd argue that they are equally as powerful as they are straight up chaotic, and anything bearing chaos may come back to bite you. Truth be told, even as ridiculous as they may sound on paper, none of these are actually so-called auto win buttons like you'd expect from something named a rare item. The mark of a good Mario Party item system is when any item among the bunch, no matter its value, can still be utilized to greater or lesser effect depending on the circumstance. Again, these rare items are dummy strong, but perhaps in a lot of scenarios, I'd make more use out of a magic lamp, boo bell, or heck, even a reverse room. You don't simply get a rare item and go, oh boy, I'm about to win the whole game for free. At a baseline level, even holding on to one for an extended period of time is risky, as the plunder chest is still ever present in the item shops. And to add on to that, each of them have their own specific precautions you gotta consider. The barter box can be seen as a double-edged sword, as per the agreement, you're also forced to shell out all of your own remaining items to your target. Sure, a mushroom and skeleton key doesn't seem so bad to give away, yet if you have any average to high value items in your lineup, then an onus is put onto using them first and foremost. The Koopa card may have been overpowered if you could call the bank at any time and withdraw all the cash like you're on some Mario Party 5 Koopa Bank capsule type beat, but nope, you have to make your way over there on your own 2 feet to reap that money. But wait, do you cash out when there's only say 10 or 15 coins stored? Or do you hold off until it gets to a nice juicy 40 to 50? Your own patience may turn into regretful greed as another player happens to land on the bank space themselves, rendering that Koopa card a lot less handy. The lucky charm should speak for itself, as Game Guy causes one of two outcomes that are on the total extremes. If you throw it at someone inching a little too close to your coin high score, aka the coin bonus star, they could easily come out with double that amount. Or if you use it on yourself, hoping to get a fat wallet, you could easily come out with 0 coins to your name. And the Wacky Watch obviously throws everyone's game plan completely out the window. Putting the game into an early final 5 turn craze while you have a healthy lead may come across like a no-brainer to do, limiting the infamous Mario Party antics to ensue. But that's also the quickest way to put a huge target on your back. It may not seem like a long time, yet a lot can happen in a single turn, let alone 5. So if someone does pull the rug out from under you, then you'll have hardly any time to recover. That is pretty dang awesome, I'd say. Just a French hand emoji. There's always something to consider even when using the simplest of items, so imagine randomly getting one of these rare items out of the blue that can throw a huge monkey wrench into the match. Will it happen every time? I mean, literally probably not. It's just that extra lick of zest that makes Mario Party one of my favorite multiplayer games ever. I wish I could keep on talking about how they added more rare items into the mix across the mountain heap of sequels to come, though sadly, the concept died out as quickly as it came in. The very next entry would see a greatly reduced item list altogether, with the only thing even bearing resemblance to a rare item being the Bowser suit, as you're only able to nab one through a relatively uncommon Bowser space event. That's fine and dandy, but I can't help scratching my head in confusion as the Bowser suit was a pre-existing item that wasn't all that hard to get into, and was straight up purchasable for 10 coins in 3. It even functions the exact same, with only seeing a moderate buff of stealing 30 coins from every player you pass by instead of the usual 20. I guess it does step on the Mega Mushroom's toes a smidge in functionality, but I don't know, it's still kinda strange. Mario Party 5 would reinvent the item wheel by introducing capsules that you can throw down onto blue spaces. Now, none of these are rare by 3 standards, though I suppose one of them may as well technically fit into that category, as I'd bet all my coins 99% of you have never seen it actually be used during a match. Truly living up to its name, if someone manages to collect 3 separate miracle capsules, then a special event will start where first place will be forced to give all their stars to the person in last. Even if third or second makes this move, last place will still be the player to receive all those stars. Yes, I'm not yanking your chain or anything, this will actually happen. I would go off on an annoying outrage rant on how this is straight up stupid, but again, the odds of this happening are so absurdly low, it's not even worth the hassle. By the time Mario Party 6 rolled around, the embers of rare items were extinguished for good, as each board has its own specific tailor-made list of orbs that can appear throughout, leaving no chance of any super wacky items popping up, which honestly is perfectly fine. Having that strong item system foundation is way more vital than any silly rare item could ever be. Mario Party 6 is proof enough, as it is one of, if not the only entry that can challenge 3 for having the best item play. The real biggest shame in this ordeal is that modern Mario Party is cooked beyond belief. So if anything remotely echoing these item systems, let alone rare items, come back, then butter my biscuits and call me Boogie2988. I'll give everyone watching this a free corn dog on the house. Until then, peace out dogs, go play some Mario Party.